Okay, I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now.
This time last year, I made a decision that changed my life. After finishing my bachelor's degree in music education at the University of Southern Mississippi, I packed up all my belongings and I moved to Sweden. That's right, Sweden, the land that brought you Spotify, Tempur-Pedic, ABBA, Zara Larsson, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and most importantly, Fika. If you don't know what Fika is, look it up. It's a great thing. Beautiful.
Stop being stupid.
Before I continue, I want to clear something up. We're talking about Sweden, not to be confused with Switzerland, which people do a lot, especially in my family. Switzerland is a land of chocolate, cheese, Swiss Army triplets, if you will. I moved to Sweden. Now, we got that sorted, let's move on. The reasons that I picked Sweden of all countries are many. Number one, my girlfriend had been teaching here for 1 year at this point, and long distance relationships are hard. Number two, I had been in Canton, Mississippi for 21 years. It was time to go someplace new. Number three, for as long as I can remember, I've only wanted to do two things in my life: travel the world and play music. This was my first opportunity to do both. So in the words of MVP Russell Westbrook, why not? August 1st, I landed in Stockholm. And a few days later, we moved into our apartment about 3 hours west in a city called Karlstad. I began teaching at the International English School, and as I got more comfortable with the routine, I began to make acquaintance with staff members, build relationships outside of school, learn the ins and outs of town, and even pick up a little bit of the Swedish language. As I'm settling in, I'm thinking, man, things are going well. This finna be a breeze. I got a new job, but there was still something missing. Where was the music? So in order to tell you how the music got started, I need to rewind a bit. Spring 2016, I'm in college, it's my senior year, things are going great. Our steel band's getting ready for our final concert, and Doc tells us Andy Narell's coming to town. If you don't know who Andy Narell is, check him out. Most profound steel pan player in the world. He took the steel pan out of the steel band and took it into the jazz world and just blew up. It's a phenomenal musician, great man, check him out. So when he was here my freshman year, we were doing a concert. It was Andy Narell, Lord Relator, and Mark Walker. And if you're a drummer, you know who Mark Walker is. He played organ, he teaches at Berkeley, Mark Walker. Well, the deal was Mark Walker wasn't gonna be able to make it until our dress rehearsal. So in all the previous rehearsals, I was playing kid. I'll never forget, we're rehearsing, we're playing the charts with the jazz band and the steel band together. Doc comes over and he says, hey man, you know you're doing something right if you get praise from Andy Narell. I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, he told me that if I had known that we had this drummer, then we didn't need to call Mark. I'm geeking, like I'm a freshman in college, I'm 18 years old. To get a compliment like that from somebody of his stature was just unspeakable joy, if you will. Senior year, Andy Narell comes back for another concert. This time I'm playing set. So I'm like, man, you know, I have to prove myself this time, you know, like, one, it'll be cool if he even remembers me, but in case he doesn't, I need to bring the fire, you know what I'm saying? And he came in during one of our rehearsals, we were in the middle of one of the tunes, we're just playing to warm up or whatever. He was like, you're still here? I was like, yeah, I was just a freshman when you came the last time. And he's like, wow, you didn't sound like a freshman. So I was like, dang, this is crazy. So anyway, fast forward, the concert was a blast, and throughout those rehearsals, I would talk to Andy and say, hey, you know, it's not set in stone yet, but I'm thinking about moving to Europe. If you ever need me to do something, you know, just hit me up. I'd love to, you know, help you out in any way I can. We exchanged contact information. You know, he was like, keep in touch. I'll see what I can do. I'm like, yes, sir. All right, flashback done. We're back in August. It's Sweden. I'm here. Things are new. Things are good. Okay. I email Andy. I say, hey, you know, just letting you know that I'm officially in Sweden now. I moved here. I'm settled in. You know, I'd still love to work with you if you ever need me to do anything. September, he emails me and he says, hey, I want you to play on my album. I want you to play on my album. Bro, I'm freaking out. I'm like, what? Are you serious? Andy Narell, the Andy Narell, wants me to play on his album. I call Doc. This is the chance to do something big. I learned these tracks. So mid-September, he flies me out to Paris, and for 3 days, I'm recording his album. I'm in Andy Narell's house with Andy Narell's family and Andy Narell's food and Andy Narell's studio, like recording Andy Narell's music. It was beautiful. Something I will never forget, milestone of my life. After I finish up the Andy Narell album, I come back to Sweden. By this time it's November, starting to get a little colder. Things are starting to get a little more cozy, settling in even more at work now. This is when one of my colleagues found out that I play drums. She told me about this production and they needed a drummer. Give me more information, I'd like to be a part of it, you know, if I can help out. She says, yeah, let me put you in contact with Andreas. Turns out Andreas also works at the English school. I see Andreas, you know, I'm like, you know, hello, I heard about this, you know, production, what's it all about? He's like, yeah, we need a drummer. I'll give you more information. I can put you in contact with Frederick, who is the, in charge of the band, and he can give you more information about that. This is my second lead. I'm like, man, this is cool. Like, things are starting to roll. This is awesome. So on my way home from work that day, I decided to stop at the music store. The first thing I see is this guy's playing guitar, and he is just killing it. And I'm like, man, this dude's really good. And at first I'm like, maybe I should just walk by, let me go get these sticks, let me get up out of here. But then I'm like, no, I should introduce myself. I should network. I should take this opportunity to connect with people who are here. So I walk over, I introduce myself. He introduces himself. Through conversation, I find out that he played for that same production the previous year, and that he was like, blah, 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 you should talk to Frederick. And I'm like, Frederick, that name sounds so familiar. Frederick, that's the Frederick, the same Frederick that Andreas told me I should get in contact with. The same guy. What are the odds in the same day that I would hear from two people to talk to this same guy? And I'm like, okay, there's gotta be a click with this. I need to holler at this dude. Let's exchange info on Facebook. I'll give him your Facebook information. He'll contact you. That was a Friday. Saturday morning, I get a friend request from Frederick. I accept it. He sends me a message about the gig. This organization's called Cabary. They're a local organization that puts on a New Year's review every year at Scala Theater in Karlstad. Fantastic production, fantastic people, just a great overall production, great show. Everything about it was awesome. So he's like, would you like to be a part of this? Telling me the ins and outs of it and all the things that, come along with it. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. I've never done anything like that before. So, of course I would like to do it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm gonna be a part of Cabary. Like I get to be a part of this New Year review. So that was my second musical experience here in Sweden. So I come back from Paris. I got Cabary going. I'm like, man, I need something else. I need a new haircut. So I got a new haircut. Being a part of Cabary came with a lot of perks. Perk number 1, a new friend group. People I can associate with outside of work. Perk number 2, I'm getting my foot in the door. I'm finally in the music scene. Perk number 3, a rehearsal space. I finally have somewhere to set up my kit. I can go practice any time of day I want. And the best part is I'm not disturbing my neighbors. Now I got this rehearsal space. I'm playing every day because I'm getting ready for Cabary. And now I'm thinking, now is the perfect time to hop on my social media. I made a decision a while back that I wanted to really take my social media seriously, because I see that a lot of guys are getting some recognition. I'm like, man, let's do it. I have a room, I have a kit, I have a GoPro, I have a cell phone. Let's do it. So I'm brainstorming and I'm thinking, I need something that's gonna attract the musical audience, but yet is appealing enough to attract the everyday people who know nothing about music, who care nothing about music, who just wanna see something cool. And I'm thinking, okay, you play drums, that's cool, people like that. And everybody likes fills. So that's why I came up with the idea for the fill series. And I called the fill series 99 Problems But a Fill Ain't One. Started out as just a Jay-Z reference, but it grew into a concept that I really felt was pretty cool. So every day for 99 days, I would do a fill. So I'll start off every video with just a basic groove, and I would implement that fill at the end of the phrase. Next, you switch to an overhead shot where I'd slow the tempo down and I'd show you that fill note for note, how exactly to play it. In the third segment of every video, I would do what I call the real world application. So whether it be within a groove or within an actual song, I take that fill and I stick it in. Usually I try to put it at the end of the video just to end with some sort of spunk, some sort of fire. That was how I got the 99 Fills series started. There are 3 main reasons I wanted to get this series going. 1, as I previously stated, to increase my presence on social media. 2, it was a no excuse, surefire way to get me in the practice room every single day. 3, a great way to track my progress. So from day 1 to day 99, there's continual growth. And now I have that physical artifact to go back and look on and say, man, this is how far you've come. And people liked it too, so that's pretty cool. So things are really coming together for Cabary. The music sounds great. Everything is a breeze. And unfortunately, our friend who's playing bass, who was also kind of the leader for the band, he got some unfortunate news about his health, and he had to drop Cabary. At this point, they were kind of looking for a new leader, what they call a kapellmästare. Check my Swedish. It's not perfect. And he nominated me. And I'm thinking, 1, I'm not Swedish. I don't know the language so well. 2, not only am I new to Cabary, I'm new to Sweden. I just got here. I ain't come here for all that. So we had a meeting, a sort of vote almost, and they chose me to be the new band leader. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I learned some Swedish. I became a part of a fire band. Remember the band, we'll get back to that later. I worked with the director, producer, stage manager, and vocal coach to put this production together. The production turned out to be fantastic, and I built relationships that I'll have forever. During fall break, I'm sitting here in Stockholm, and I'm scrolling through my Instagram. I see this guy named Sara Vintfjärd. One, I was like, this guy has a cool name. Two, I see he plays drums and he lives here in Sweden. I'm like, I should check this guy out. You should too. You can click the link below to check out his YouTube channel. He's an awesome drummer and a really good friend of mine, so make sure you guys go look him up. So I'm on his page, I see the contact icon, and of course I'm like, here's another opportunity to network. So I email him, tell him who I am, what I'm trying to do. I leave my number so we can stay in contact. 5 minutes later, he texts me, he says, hey, I'm doing some laundry, I'll call you right back. So he calls me, we're on the phone for like an hour and a half, talking about drums, talking about gear, talking about gigging, talking about what to do in Sweden, how to do it in Sweden. Just in those 90 minutes that we were on the phone, I was like, man, you know, this guy's going somewhere. He's got his head on straight. He's doing big things. You should keep in touch with him. So I did. And in February, Ciro's had me out to Mariestad where he lives. We ate a lot of good food, had a lot of good conversations, and we played some drums. If you want to see those videos, you can click the link below. Check those out. Phenomenal. Remember that fire band from Cabary? Well, after it was all over, I was fortunate enough to keep that rehearsal space. So every once in a while, I'd have the guys over and we jam a little bit. Jamming turned into writing, writing turned into rehearsing, and rehearsing turned into going to record an EP. It was so cool to see it unfold the way it did, because Jonas, who played bass, he would always be singing the melody, or he'd be like, guys, check this out, I got this cool riff. Or Adam would always be like, man, I wrote this song, I got this. And I would always tease that, man, we should play together. And now we were finally getting to do that. So we took these 3 songs, we polished them up, and Marcus, who actually played keys for Cabary, told us he had access to this studio. So we went out there and we recorded this EP. And that music is in the mixing process right now, so I'm really excited to see how it all turns out. So here I need to backpedal again to kind of bring this thing full circle. So you guys remember Frederick, the guy I went through a spider web of communication to get to play in Cabary. So he had been working on his own music throughout the year. And in late spring, he contacted me and asked me to play on his EP. Now, I can't say much more about that because of privacy reasons, but once he starts to reveal elements of that, I'll keep you guys updated. Frederick is one of the most meticulous guys I know when it comes to music. He takes a lot of pride in his work, and he really should, because he works so hard to get it to sound the way it does. And I'm very proud of him and the work that he's doing, and I absolutely can't wait to show you guys when it comes out. So my first year in Sweden is coming to a close. Kids are getting ready for graduation. We buy our airline tickets to go home for the summer. Vacation is here. I'm like, this finna be a breeze. And the group message with my band from back home is blowing up. Final draft of this, final mix of this, artwork concept for this. And I'm like, oh man, our album is almost done. Now before you look at me weird, let me explain. I had recorded the drum tracks for this album last summer. That's summer 2016. And that was the first thing that was done on the album. We had written out the forms for each song. We had a good idea of what every song was gonna sound like musically, but that was it. There was just the foundation. So over this entire year I had been in Sweden, my band back home is working hard, sweating, doing all this work. And for me, it was really hard because I wanna be there. I wanna be part of that process. But at the same time, I trust them. Because before we were even a band, we were friends. We've known each other since high school, middle school even. So I'm listening to it and I'm like, man, this is fresh. This sounds nothing like it did when I recorded the drums. And that's not me tooting my own horn. It's just like, these guys really put in some work and I'm super proud of what they've done. With that being said, the Cuts debut album, Citronella, it's out right now. You can check it out on iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp, or just click the link on your screen and listen to it now. I'm super proud of it because we finally have our debut album. This is our music, this is our craft. We hope you guys enjoy it. So we fly back to the US, we're up in my girlfriend's family, and I say my girlfriend because she had no idea what was gonna happen. We go down to Mississippi for 3 weeks. During that time, I proposed, and she said yes, so that was great. Everything went just as planned, and I couldn't be more happy with where we are and where we're headed. So a few days before I get ready to go back to Sweden, we sit down as a band and we have like the final listen through. We're listening to an entire year that has culminated to form this work of art. And if I'm being honest, it's not just that 1 year, it's a chapter of life. 4 or 5 years that we've been together as a band, all has come up to this point, dropping our debut album. So after 2 summer vacations, a successful proposal, and our album release on the brink, I'm on cloud 9. And I'm like, man, I'm about to go back to Sweden and take this and run with it. And this is gonna propel me to my next big thing. And here we are. Before I wrap things up, I just want to say thank you guys for joining me on this journey. Your support and your feedback is appreciated as well as necessary for my future endeavors. Speaking of which, I'm making a lot of changes, strengthening my brand, so make sure you keep your eyes and your ears peeled for that. Thanks for watching. I'm Vinson McMurtery, and as always, have fun, play drums.
Sometimes I fantasize about traveling space and time. I think about specific moments that I could rewind.